Welcome to Harriman, Utah, where today it's Major League Rugby, an important contest between the home Utah Warriors and the one lone Canadian side, the Toronto Arrows. Welcome inside the booth. Jeremy Jordan alongside the former BYU All-American and national champion, Johnny Linehan. Toronto has played 7 road matches in a row. This will be their 8th. They'll play 8 home games in a row, so this is the end of a road for them. Meanwhile, the Utah Warriors, looking up at the standings, the playoff hunt right now, they need a win at home today, Johnny.
Yeah, definitely. Utah's kind of dug themselves in a hole, and Toronto, being on this long road trip, has actually done quite well for themselves. So this is more of a must-win for Utah today, and it's a great day for it, Jeremy.
We finally had some good weather. We had snow for what seemed like months for each and every home game for the Utah Warriors, but today we have some great weather. Expect some great rugby. For those who don't know rugby very well, let's walk you through some of the basics, John.
Awesome. So this is Rugby 101, or Rugby for Rookies. So both teams have 15 active players on the field, unless one of them or 2 of them get sent to the naughty chair. We might see some yellow or red cards. We'll explain those later. Hopefully not, though. There are 8 reserves on the bench, so 23 total players. The great thing and the beauty of rugby is everybody plays offense and everybody plays defense. There's 5 ways to score tries. You can kick for points. Off a tee, that's 3 points. You can do a drop goal from anywhere on the field. That's also 3 points. You can score a try by crossing over the try line and dotting it down. That's where football, ironically, gets the touchdown from. There's also a penalty try. There are no forward passes, but for the most part, rugby is a continuous game, so it's non-stop action.
Okay, coming after the break, the Toronto Arrows and the Utah Warriors. Lineups and kickoff next. Today's game is brought to you by AutoSource, Big D, Embassy Suites, and by Nui.
Hey there, rugby fans. Did you ever get bullied for being one of the only lovers of the sport? Well, now everyone will want to jump on the bandwagon. Go to warriorsrugby.vote to enter any of the polls and contests. Leave your email, first and last name, and boom! You are entered for a chance to win 2 round-trip tickets to Japan for this year's Rugby World Cup. Hurry!
Hi, I'm Ned Siegfried. Siegfried & Jensen has been handling injury cases in Utah for over 30 years. In addition to our main office in Salt Lake, we have recently opened offices for your convenience in Ogden, Provo, and St. George. Even though most business these days is done online, we really enjoy meeting our clients in person whenever possible. If you've had the misfortune of being injured, call us. We can probably tell you right on the phone whether or not you have a case.
Tooele. Humble beginnings to unlimited tomorrows. It's a bold new day in Tooele. So much, so close. For more information, contact us at tooelevalley.org.
Let's show you the starters, starting with the home side Utah Warriors, Johnny.
Yeah, so Utah Warriors, a little change at hooker. Number 2, Jeremy Lieber from Perth, Australia, will be getting the start today. Utah have had some troubles there with injuries, so Jeremy looking to take over there. And in the back line, we welcome back number 10, Joshua Reeves. He's back in the Warriors starting lineup after representing Brazil. Now towards the Toronto lineups. In the forward pack, the forwards will be led by number 6, the blindside flanker, Lucas Rumble, the crumbler, after he was the captain at for the Canadian ARC side. And in the back line, number 14, Avery Oiderman, very exciting player. He's the tied third leading try scorer in the MLR, so they'll be looking to get him the ball. And in the reserves, Utah, out of Alkington, a typical starter for the Warriors. We welcomed the new baby girl into his family, so he'll be coming off the bench. And then Toronto, they have 4 Canadian internationals back from the ARC who'll be looking to make an impact off the bench today.
Absolutely. Tremendous talent in these lineups. And we are underway. Our official is Derek Summers, and it is a red out for the Utah Warriors as Saya Uhila starts things with a nice run outside of the 22 of the Utah Warriors. Joshua Reeves, back from Brazil, as you mentioned, Johnny, with the ARC, where he scored the most points of anybody in that tournament with 54. And here go the Toronto Arrows. They were the Ontario Arrows, formerly the Ontario Blues, now the first-year expansion team in year 2 of Major League Rugby as they possess the pill. Paul Cellini, 10-meter line for the Arrows, who've played 7 straight, now 8 straight road games. They will play 8 straight home games in a flip in the schedule. Nice offload to Giuseppe Dutoit. Wide, running out of space. The fullback Gaston Mieres out of Uruguay with the carry. Rob Brower up to the midway point. Malcolm looking for options. That one spilled, but backwards. Arrows still in possession. And I guess that was actually called a knock-on when all is said and done. So the Arrows turn it over to the Warriors.
Yeah, that midfield battle today is going to be maybe make or break for the Arrows and the Warriors today. So whoever can control the midfield, I think will come away with the winner today.
A lot of possession early from the Arrows. 51% is what Utah normally has. 46% for Toronto, which is last in the league. Yet they've been able to win 3 of those 7 games on the road, and 3 of 4 have been by 5 or fewer points. So Toronto in year 1 has been quite impressive, especially having to play the first 8 on the road. Utah looking for its first win at home, had the draw against Glendale. Disappointing result after a big lead. And Johnny Ika, the scrum half, puts it in for our first scrum. Cullen. Reeves. Gannon Moore back from the Eagles with the USA. Started and played in a couple of games with USA. Angus McClellan, former Eagle, with the carry. Reeves will keep it himself. The fly half. Both these teams with full squads post-American Rugby Championships, or ARC. So full talent on display for both these teams. Excited to see this and what happens. O'Malley, Uhila, Gannon Moore evades a tackle. Down at the 10-meter line. Utah still with possession after the knock-on from the Arrows. Good counter ruck. Reeves inside to Tim O'Malley, the Kiwi. Lays it back, ball lost. And Derek Summers will award a penalty, a knock-on Tim O'Malley as Toronto gets the turnover.
So some keys to the game for the Warriors today. They got to make sure that they get up, they got to get points early and maintain the pressure. Also, the Warriors want to make sure that they remain disciplined, not give up any easy penalties to get behind on the scoreboard early on. And they want to unleash the backs. It's a great day for running rugby. Utah hasn't given us the best weather for the last few Warriors home games, but they want to unleash the back line and get them scoring some points.
We've had multiple snow games at home, and it has been wild, right? With NOLA and Glendale and Rooney, and Utah still without that home victory last year. Pretty successful team at home. Good crowd here today. And thanks for joining us here on the TV broadcast, whether it's locally in Utah or on Game TV in Canada. Hello to everybody watching. And Toronto trying to make a run. Peter Milazzo with the carry. Let's check out the keys to the match for the Toronto Arrows, Johnny.
Yeah, so field position. We see this is the midfield battle that I was talking about. I think this is going to be make or break. So whoever can win the field position, and the Arrows are going to want to keep the ball in attacking positions. Utah's forward pack is also very dominant, so the Arrows will have their work cut out for them there. But they'll want to keep a fast defensive line when the Warriors have the ball. Get up in their face, not let the backs get in space.
Lucas Rumble, Ferguson. Now that ball going wide. Ordeman with the carry a moment ago. You mentioned tied for third. And we're going to bring it back after a little bit of advantage. Penalty, I believe, on the Lucas Rumble carry. Utah with an infraction, and it'll be a free kick from Sam Malcolm, the fly half. And a great kick into touch. And a line out coming at the 5-meter line for Toronto, trying to strike first.
Yeah, that is a great kick, but that penalty was well within range for kicking 3, so Toronto definitely backed themselves in their forward pack as they walk up to this line out. They don't want 3, they want 5 or 7.
This will be our first line out throw from Stephen Ing. Andrew Quatrin is injured, normally the starting hooker. And it is successful to Peter Milazzo. Rob Brower into the try zone for the first score. Immediately off the line out, and Toronto strikes first. It's 5-0 Arrows.
Yeah, well, you see why they went to the corner there. That was a pretty basic set piece and just perfectly executed. As we see off the line out, Utah, they don't commit any jumpers. They want to commit to defending the maul. The Arrows, they fake the maul. They go for the quick offload out the back, and then an easy try for the big man. Dots down, 5 points for the Arrows.
Tough tackle for Jackson Kaka of Utah, and Rob Brower, the 36-year-old Canadian capped prop, gets in. What a run. And it's 5-0 Toronto, trying to make it 7 here on the kick from Sam Malcolm, who's 80% accurate. Number 4 in the league in points, and his kick is good. 7-0 Toronto, 6 minutes into this contest.
Ideal start for Toronto there. That's exactly what the Warriors didn't want to have happen, getting behind early on the scoreboard. So they're going to have to make sure they play the field position game. They keep the ball in the Arrows' half. But a great start for the Arrows. You know, they just worked their way methodically down the field and were able to score an easy 5 and easy 7.
Another look at the kick from Malcolm. And Rob Brower scores his first try of 2019. 7-0 as Josh Reeves kicks deep, and that one spilled, but apparently sideways by the winger Dan Moore, the captain. Utah going to have to play from behind, which is all too familiar this season. 1-3-1. That one sent into touch. Was it touched? Mike Shepard calling for a touch, and it was deflected by the Warriors, so it'll be a throw-in for the Arrows. Stephen Ing again, successful moment ago that led to a try immediately. Successful line out, and here come the Arrows. Back inside and a bruising tackle, and well played by the Arrows to get a nice string of passes. And look at Morgan Mitchell rumble. Morgan Mitchell into space. Will he give it up? He does, and it's knocked on forward. Advantage Utah. Johnny Ika comes up with it. Mitchell with a great run, but turned it over. Here's Uhila. Sai Uhila puts his head down and barrels forward. Most carries on the team coming into the game. Josh Reeves will clear it, and it is deflected. Space on the left side. Giuseppe Dutois for the Arrows. Ferguson quickly gets rid of it. And the Arrows knocking on the door again. Look how quick the Arrows are getting rid of it. This is Milazzo. Milazzo evades Franco Vandenberg and tosses it backwards. Gannon Moore saves a would-be try. Sam Malcolm still has it. Arrows trying to add another. Quick inside ball to Stephen Ing. Warriors defense at the 4-meter line. Down 7-0 already. 8.5 minutes in. Morgan Mitchell had a great run a moment ago. Vandenberg not rolling away. Pushing match with Rumble now. And here's Ing. Ing is into the try zone. Is he in for the score, though? Is it held up? It's right there. And Derek Summers
giving it.
Says another try. And Toronto was up 12-0 in the first 9 minutes.
Yeah, Law started from that little midfield run there from Morgan Mitchell. These props making their presence known early on. But we'll go back to a little scrappy play. These forwards just picking and going. Warriors a bit slow there to get their defensive line set. And there, yeah, we see it. Good touchdown there from Mike Shepard. Forwards dominating these games so far. The Warriors a bit sloppy in these first 10 minutes.
Stephen Ing comes up. It looked like they were waiting for someone to come up. He just comes up, takes it, and literally crawls into the try zone for the score.
Yeah, all you need is, just that one little speck of turf or grass that is painted white for it to be a try. Referee Summers in good position as we see the conversion. 14-0 for the Arrows. This is a big hole that the Warriors did not want to find themselves in early on.
Right away, down 14-0, the first try of the season for Brower and now Stephen Ing, and the perfect start in the first 10 minutes for the Toronto Arrows. And on the other side, this is the Utah Warriors team that has some good talent but has not been able to put it together. 1-4-1, 8 points, yet to win at home, and a frustrating season and now a frustrating start as they fight the uphill battle here. As Josh Reeves will kick this one off. Past the intended potential ball carrier, and look at this. A kick forward, but it goes to Don Patti. Good intentions by Dan Moore, but the kick went astray. Don Patti has played in a couple of games. Offloads to Lance Williams, the former Hawaii football linebacker. Reeves, O'Malley, Tonata Lauti, who led the league in tries last year, has not scored yet, knocks it on, advantage Toronto. And that ball's into touch, so they'll bring it back after the penalty, the knock-on, and the Warriors yet to string anything together.
Yeah, just really sloppy defense here from the Warriors, not calling out their men, not committing to making the tackles, and the Arrows just finding their way through and over the advantage line, just super easy right now.
See, Lauti coughed it up, and it looked like there was a hand that came in, and I think it was Giuseppe Dutois that actually knocked it out.
Yeah, when you get behind on the scoreboard early on, you try and do a little too much. And so that's what we saw there from Tonata Lauti. Instead of just taking it in, recycling the ball for the Warriors, just trying to do a little too much.
Andrew Ferguson will put it in on the scrum. Not too many set pieces so far. A lot of run of play. Toronto pushing forward. Ball still underneath. And a penalty against the Warriors. Toronto dominated that scrum.
Just dominating everywhere right now, Jerem. Great scrum there from the Arrows, pushing them back. Warriors, couple changes in their forward pack. Arrows definitely taking advantage of that at this stage in the game.
Got a final score around the league. Rooney, Rugby United New York, beats Austin 19-11. But this was a 6-5 game in the second half in which Austin led, who has been at the bottom of the table for a while. So Rooney pulls one out against an Austin side that is improving. Toronto played at Rooney on Coney Island there a couple of weeks ago. Played 6 straight weeks, had a bye, and now they're fresh with the full squad, full accoutrement of talent after the ARCs, and so far so good. As that line out is lost. Johnny Ika trying to pick it up, kicks it forward. It's going to be a knock-on. It'll come back. Utah having a hard time handling the pill today, Johnny.
Yeah, which is interesting because, as we spoke with the coaches, they finally just dreamed of great weather. They can't complain too much because both teams have to play in the weather. But this Utah Warriors, especially the back line, they live for this weather. Clean weather, not much wind, sun's out. It's pretty warm. So not holding on to it early on is going to be frustrating, Coach Daniels.
Chris Silverthorne is the director of rugby for Toronto, assisted by Aaron Carpenter, who has the most caps of any Canadian ever. Corey Hector, and then Pete Smith was on the Seattle squad that won the MLR championship last season. Another scrum. Toronto pushing forward, beating this Utah Warriors team, pushing them back. Where's the ball? And it's going to be a penalty against the Warriors. As Toronto continues to do what they want, up 14-0, 14 minutes in.
Yeah, and pretty unanimous decision there from all 15 on the field, pointing for the sideline. They're going for the jugular early on.
And what role, as we see the kick into touch and another line-out coming for the Toronto Arrows, does the injuries to the hookers play? Because Utah's on their 4th-string hooker in Jeremy Lieber right now.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, right, it just kind of takes out some of that consistency. You don't like injuries, but especially in such a crucial spot like the hooker. Jeremy Lieber coming in, he's a great player, but he is a little bit undersized, so kind of takes away some of that oomph from the forward pack. But we're just seeing just them dominate, not just in the hookers, but just all 8 right now are just dominating the Warriors.
Rumble comes down with it. The maul has been a strength for Toronto this season. Still going, knocking on the door again. Toronto already up 14-0. We'll see if this ball comes out to the right, and it does. Morgan Mitchell, 1 meter out. Toronto already up 14-0. The 8-man Colby Francis, a late add as an 8-man, by the way. Mike Shepard, this one wide. This is gonna be in. Dan Moore dots it down. And there'll be a discussion and a try awarded. 19-0. Dan Moore, the captain, the 28-year-old, 14 caps for Canada, 1 try today, his 4th of the season, 19-0.
Yeah, well, the back said, hey, forwards, you've done enough. Let us have a turn. And then they put it out the back. Sam Malcolm, great pass over the top and then dots down in the corner. Great try for the Arrows. It's just too easy right now, Jerem. The Warriors aren't doing anything to stop the bleeding.
And this is the worst possible start for this home side that has been frustrated by the start to the season. And for Toronto, they played 8 road matches in 9 weeks. And they are feeling good, up 19-0 now with the conversion pending by Sam Malcolm. And 1 point away from the bonus point, let alone the win that they're on pace for right now.
Yeah, perfect start. This is where, you can't call a timeout in rugby. So the captain and the leadership from the Warriors are going to have to step up and say, hey, boys, what do we have to do to fix this? Because we got to fix it now.
And that conversion is no good. So it remains 19-0. The Toronto Arrows, one of the 2 expansion teams this year in the league with Rooney, and those 2 teams have impressed. My goodness. Toronto, 6 points out of the playoffs right now. Still a lot of rugby to be played. Sitting here on round 10. It was an 8-team regular season, or 8-game rather, now 16. And Utah, with a lot of work to do, has not even possessed inside their own 22 right now. This is trouble. Kicked clear. Johnny Ika still in. Here's Reeves as Utah looks to get something going. Dunpati. Nice step, 10-meter line. Lauti trying to make something happen. Lays it back. Utah down 19-0, needing a score and in a hurry. Lance Williams. Johnny Ika. Reeves. Pati. Jackson Kaka, former New Mexico State and BYU football player. Ika keeps it himself. Laid back to Gannon Moore. Vandenberg, the South African. Reeves. Nearly stolen. Viney Colo possesses. Dan Moore wanted a second try and nearly had it. Jensen with the keeper. Tackled by Milazzo. Reeves. Vandenberg. Williams. Lance Williams dragging a defender forward. It was Dutois. Reeves. That one might have gone forward. No call. Inside the 22 finally for the Utah Warriors. Vandenberg. And there's a whistle. Offside on Toronto, so finally some good news for the Warriors.
Yeah, a little patient build up there. That's got to feel good to put it through the phases. But great defense from the Arrows, getting up in the face. Warriors really struggling to get any inches at this stage. So this penalty is a big break for them as they look to kick to the corner, set up their own line out, and try to get on the scoreboard.
And normally right here, you might kick for 3, but down 19, you've got to kick this into touch and gives yourself a chance. Reeves with the boot, so it won't be out inside the 5. About 10 or 12 meters away for Utah. And we'll see our first line-out throw from Jeremy Lieber. You were roommates with Lieber as an All-American a few years ago.
Yeah.
And that throw was too good. It was a little high, but Utah still in possession. McClellan. Lance Williams. Oh, takes out Sam Malcolm, the former linebacker. Excited to have The rock in his hands. Uhila gives it to Jackson Kaka, who dots it down. And Utah is on the board. They respond down 19 in the 19th minute for the first score.
Well, that's exactly what they needed. The Ford pack, who's been the rock of this team all season. You know, they decided to take it on their shoulders, and Jackson, who's stepping up for Otto being out, like we said, with a new baby in the family, being not able to practice as much normally. Big run there from Saya to get inside the 5. Then Jackson, a quick pick and go. And then once you're on the ground, you can't roll, you can't crawl, but you can reach. And that's exactly what he does. He reaches out, dots it down on the chalk, 5 points, and kick to come here for Tim O'Malley.
O'Malley has been extremely accurate. 19 of 22 in total kicks, 85% this season as the Warriors get on the board in the 20th minute. And the Kiwi makes it 19-7. That will bring us to our hydration break. What a first 20 between these two sides. 19 unanswered from Toronto. Utah answers with 7. We'll step aside. 19-7 Toronto at our hydration break. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Ned Siegfried. Siegfried and Jensen has been handling injury cases in Utah for over 30 years. In addition to our main office in Salt Lake, we have recently opened offices for your convenience in Ogden, Provo, and St. George. Even though most business these days is done online, we really enjoy meeting our clients in person whenever.
The first 20 minutes, Johnny, have been incredible. We've seen 4 tries, 3 from Toronto. Rob Brower got the first one. Stephen Ng, Dan Moore, and then Jackson Kaka answers for the Warriors. It's 19-7.
Yeah, I mean, almost a point a minute, or more than a point a minute. Just exciting rugby.
And you see Stephen Ng here, unbridled, into the end zone, the try zone. And Toronto scored 19 straight points. Utah answered. And now we're live, and the Utah Warriors get the penalty and a little possession and a little momentum for this cowbell ringing crowd here today on the Red Out.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they're going to feel good after they kind of stop the bleeding there, still down in a hole. But this kick here from Josh Reeves is going to get him up close to halfway. Then they have a set piece in an attacking position.
You'll see Tim O'Malley as the kicker on conversions and penalties. And a great kick from Reeves. Lots of possession here. Josh Reeves, who is from Christchurch, New Zealand, married a Brazilian, so he plays for the Brazilian national team. And he is finally back. So we're seeing a lot of good, talented rugby players here on display. Let's see if Jeremy Lieber can complete this line out. Last one a little long, but it did lead to a try as Utah maintained possession. Former Lindenwood player, successful to John Cullen. Maul forms. Nicolo comes up. Johnny Ika at the back of that, waiting to see what happens with this. And the ball goes to Nicolo in space. He's tackled, and a try-saving tackle from Malcolm. Ika, Vandenberg. Momentum has swung a little bit here as the crowd's getting into it. Ika calling for it. John Cullen, the former Utah Ute football player. National Guard paratrooper. Reeves inside to Gannon Moore, gobbled up. Toronto right there at the 22-meter line, ready for him. Ika looks to his left. Williams. O'Malley wide to Vandenberg. Ball's loose. 50-50 for a moment. Still going. Sai Uhila. Big tackle by Ng. Reeves. Matt Jensen, former Eagle. O'Malley, space on the right. Patti, Lauti, trying to dance around. Gets a few meters of territory. Angus McClellan keeps it, tackled. Toronto stout so far. Ciullini with the big tackle there. Reeves. Here's Lieber with the rare carry. Cullen grabs it. Vainikolo, direct pass to Uhila. And Utah maintaining possession, third in the league, 51% a game. Here's Lance Williams. Arrows have been right there, Johnny. Jensen, Vandenberg. Milazzo comes up and makes the stick. Reeves, O'Malley. There's Lauti on the edge. Lauti cuts it inside and does it down! What a try from Tanata Lauti!
Did he get it?
Now the call hasn't come. I thought he dotted it down. Here's a conversation between Derek Summers and one of his assistant referees, and Lauti looks to be injured. I thought he dotted it down. Still no indication, but immediately the training staff out to get some attention for Tanata Lauti, who was the Major League Rugby try scorer of the year last year, and still no indication and a potential injury here.
Well, great play, good pass, drawn pass there from amazing defense up until that point from the Arrows. And that angle doesn't really show. We can see the ball spilling forward, but not sure if he had any pressure on it initially. But we did see the trainers come over, and I don't know if his shoulder popped out. Saw him trying to click it back in, but Lauti's a tough cookie, so to keep him down, especially for this long, let's hope he's okay.
And did they award the try in the end? I believe Derek Summers did.
Penalty try.
Penalty try, okay. Tripping. So that is an odd call that you don't see very much. And I thought Tanata Lauti dotted it down, but perhaps tripped before that. So the try given, and when a penalty try happens, you get the conversion as well. So all of a sudden, Utah's right back into it. And we hope that Tanata Lauti is okay. He is on his feet walking back. He will stay in the game. And I think you're right. He's kind of moving that right shoulder around.
Yeah, and like you brought up, Jam, new rule this year, penalty try. Normally you had to do the kick from underneath the post, and it was almost a guaranteed 7 points. But this time, they just give it to you. So penalty try for 7, and a try in the corner, tricky conversion. That 2 points could come back and be a big play.
And that kickoff into touch, so they'll bring it back to midfield. And momentum has swung. 19 unanswered to start for Toronto, 14 unanswered for Utah. And we're pacing for maybe 100 points in this game, Johnny. This has been exciting rugby.
Yeah, this has been great. Look what the good weather brings. But Utah here, when the kick goes out on the full from a restart, they have the option to have a scrum in the midfield or a line out. They trust in their line out going with that set piece.
There's Jackson Kaka. Woods one guy, fends another, past the midway point. Jackson Kaka still going. Gannon Moore chewing up territory. And the cowbells are making some noise. They've got a fever. Utah with the chance to tie or take the lead here after being down 19-0.
Looks like Ika's getting some treatment down here. They don't have a number 9.
The ball comes out. Toronto with possession for the first time in a long time, it feels like. Look at this run. Into the middle of the field. Gaston Mieres, great run for Toronto. Brower to Mitchell. John Cullen tackles Milazzo, who flips over in the ruck. Rumble. Toronto up 19-14 here in Harriman, Utah. 8th straight road game for the Toronto Arrows. They'll play 8 straight home games coming up. I know their fans are extremely excited about that. And Johnny Ika's back up. Scrum half for the Warriors, who was being attended to a moment ago. Sam Malcolm, the Kiwi. There's Stephen Ing, who scored the second try. Malcolm digs in to get it, pushes over Gannon Moore himself, and then gets the ball. Lauti keeps it in, then throws it back to Patti. He's got some pressure, and he's got to release it. He does not kick. He gets out of it. Lauti streaking up the sideline. Tonatalauti inside to Tim O'Malley, who's tackled. Huge chunk by Lauti and O'Malley. And the pendulum swings again. Uhila, Ika, Williams, Vandenberg.
Oh, big tackle.
Nice tackle by Dan Moore, the winger. And coughed up. Mieres takes it away, but a penalty is going to bring it back. Not rolling away on Toronto. Utah will possess.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. I thought Tonatalauti, when he tried to keep that ball in off that great kick over the top, I thought he made the wrong decision, but that's the exciting speed from these back three with Dom Putty and Tonatalauti. You know, they're able to make something happen out of nothing.
The creativity from the back is incredible, and most guys are kicking from that fullback position, as we see Ika being attended to and that ankle being looked at, but what a stick. As Vandenberg went past it, O'Malley and then Moore, and then taken away by Mieres. Don Patti doesn't kick that. He says, I'm going to make something happen, and finds Tonatalauti up the sideline.
Yeah, so you take the risk, but you see the reward paying off as the Warriors are going to start from about the 5-meter line. But a great tackle there from the Arrows, because if Vandenberg was able to spin that one more, the Warriors had plenty numbers to tie this one up.
About 10 meters out. Line out coming for the Utah Warriors, down 19-14. Chance to tie or take the lead right here after being down 19-0. Lineout's successful as it bounced off of Lance Williams and then ricocheted back into the arms of the Warriors. Knocking on the door. 14 straight points. Lance Williams calling for it. Uhila with him. You can't block, but you can help push forward in rugby. Jensen, the former BYU Cougar, down the road. Vandenberg, the South African. Good counter ruck. The ball laid back. O'Malley to Gannon Moore. 5 meters out. John Cullen bruising his way towards the try line. 3 meters out in the left corner. Johnny Ika still okay and in the game. And Captain snuck in on the left side by Vainikolo. Derek Summers still having a conversation. And it's good. And Utah has tied the game. And what a play from Fetu'u Vainikolo. Look at this.
Little bit of bluffing there, but then he picked it up and went.
Wow. 19 straight from Toronto. 19 straight from the Warriors with a conversion pending. What a game so far, Johnny.
Yeah, well, both these teams, just the execution is just elite. Both teams have had, 3 or 4 opportunities, and they've just capitalized on every single one of them. And the high IQ there from Fetu'u Vainikolo, leading try scorer for Tonga, now playing with the Warriors. That's just a high IQ play to pick that one up and snipe around the corner of the ruck and dot that down about as close as you can to the sideline. So this is a big kick here from Tim O'Malley, but all the momentum with the Utah Warriors right now.
And Tim O'Malley trying to move some of the equipment on the Toronto side to give himself some space to take the lead here. First try of the season for Vainikolo. You mentioned the 28 caps with Tonga, 17 tries, most in Tongan history. Experience in Ireland, England, France. Tremendous player. It was weird that he hadn't scored yet, or Tonatalauti, who I guess with the penalty try still hasn't, but appeared to dot it down there, and he's okay. Johnny Ika okay. And Tim O'Malley trying to take the lead for the Warriors on this kick. Will it curve in? It will not, and it will be short as well. So we are tied at 19 apiece in the first half an hour of this match. If this is your first rugby match you've ever watched,
you're addicted.
I want to say that every match is like this, but it's really not. This has been fantastic. Up and down rugby from these two teams, and now who will take the lead? Tied at 19.
Yeah, this is addicting rugby right here, Jerem. This is exactly what you want to see, and both these teams have had their challenges with weather at different locations. Perfect day, perfect rugby.
And perfectly tied so far. Josh Reeves will clear it into touch. I don't think he liked the kick when it left his foot. And the Arrows, who were up 19, are now tied, trying to regain momentum here. 3-4 on the season, 17 points. All these games on the road, as mentioned. If they win tonight, they will have won half of those games, which is pretty remarkable as an expansion team on the road. 90% of the team's Canadian. Ton of internationals on this team. Nice throw on the line out from Stephen Ng in the Mall forms. Moving to the left. Stephen Ng with the ball. Still going. Warriors calling for a penalty. Stephen Ng still with it. Jackson Kaka right there. In comes Lieber. Ball still good. We should mention that Andrew Ferguson got a yellow card and he is out. So 14 on 15 right now. Not exactly sure for what or when it happened. But Andrew Ferguson, the scrum half for Toronto, is out with a yellow.
Yeah, something we missed probably on that penalty try, though, for the tripping. That would be my best guess.
Yeah, good call. Malcolm. Inside run to Dutois. And a penalty against Toronto as Utah celebrates. And how has Utah taken this momentum back, Johnny? Down 19-0, the way the season's gone, it wasn't looking good. Well, now it's looking just fine. What happened?
I mean, this is almost a different Utah team we've seen. You know, they've been an exciting team all season that hasn't had results go their way, and they haven't executed very well today. They've just been clinical in their execution, and it has helped, you know, as we mentioned, with Andrew Ferguson being on the sideline. So they've been able to score an additional try while he's been there in the sin bin. But it's just the momentum. Once they get going, you know, they are able to thrive from that momentum. And right now they have it all. So I'm sure the Arrows are waiting for this half to come to a conclusion so they can regroup. But they're a great team, and they'll be back. And this game, you know, definitely isn't over.
19 straight from both teams. And Ferguson is up. If it was near the penalty try, he's in the sin bin for about 2 more minutes. Donpati, sneaky runner. At midfield, Ika has been attended to twice, but still in there. McClellan. Tackled by Morgan Mitchell. John Cullen wants it. The 8-man. Throws it to Pati behind him. Bounces backwards. Panatalauti apparently okay. Gets up to midfield. On the touchline. Big driving counter ruck from Toronto. Who's got it? Toronto has it. They steal it. Here's Rumble. What a great name. The captain of the Canadian ARC team. Mike Shepard. One of those many players on the Canadian ARC team. Now out to the 10-meter line. Mitchell. Mitchell, couple of good runs today. Here's Malcolm. There's Ferguson, still out, 14 on 15 here. Ball's wide to Mieres, and here comes Dan Moore. Gannon Moore coming over and tackling him. Ball spilled. Still alive, Spencer Jones, Kiwi. Formerly coached at Waikato by Utah head coach Alf Daniels in New Zealand. Rumble to the 22. Here's Brower, who got us on the board to start things in this game in the 6th minute. Toronto knocking on the door. Inside run, Mieres. Tackled and then spilled forward. Toronto knocks it on 5 meters out. And Ferguson comes back in. We're at full strength here.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great little inside ball there from the Arrows. And unfortunately, spilling it forward inside 5 meters. This is still the part of the field, if there is a part of the field that you want to make mistakes. So the Warriors still in danger here. Being 95 meters away from their try line. But great build-up, patient build-up from the Arrows. And it's probably the first time we saw a team go on attack and not come away with any points.
That's right. Someone played some defense finally. 19-19, 35 minutes in. Toronto knocks it on. So Utah avoids going down again. It'll be a scrum for the Warriors. Toronto's been very good so far in the set pieces. And Andrew Ferguson back in, his first yellow of the season. We assume it had something to do with the tripping, as it happened around that time. Gannon Moore. Back to Reeves, who will clear it. That big boot. The Kiwi who plays for the Brazilian national team. A nice grab in touch by the ball boy.
Hey, give me some love.
And the crowd gave it to him. That was awesome.
Sign him up.
He may be playing winger in the second half.
As a future generation, love to see it.
Throw-in coming for Stephen Ing. Here's the replay, and he looks at the crowd like, are you not entertained?
Get it on his highlight film.
Line out for the Arrows. Averaging 24 points a game. They've already put up 19. Oideman avoids the tackle of Gannon Moore. Oideman, third in the league in tries. Haven't seen too much of him today. Ferguson back in. Here's Rumble. Presses circle and spins around. Malcolm. The 8-man, Colby Francis, who has 3 tries. And Malcolm is down. The fly half Malcolm kind of near this ruck in a dangerous position here. Cullen. McClellan. Big tackle by Morgan Mitchell. And Ika kicks. Perhaps our first box kick, maybe second of the whole day. Dan Moore, the captain, will clear. Don Patti. Malcolm still down. Don Patti on his horse. And ball goes into touch. Sam Malcolm, the fly half for Toronto, is down.
Yeah, we hope he's okay. That's not what you like to see. Getting attended to. Looks like he's in a lot of pain. See if we can spot it when it happened.
Oh, there it is.
Late hit there from Saya Uhila. So you hate to see that, especially on that kind of play. Missed by the referees, but that could be a game changer.
And we're not quite to the half, but one of the assistant referees is going to come out and talk to Derek Summers, perhaps about that play, Johnny.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if they're taking advantage of this great big screen here at Zions Bank Stadium, but they missed it in the moment. They might be having a word about it because if it is deemed foul play, you don't want to see that in rugby.
And Malcolm is up after being attended to. And looks to stay in the game. The toughness of both these teams has been pretty impressive given how hard the hits have been and how high tempo the pace has been in this first half. So through 28 minutes, we had a lot of scoring. The last 8 minutes has slowed down a little bit. I think it's regressed to the mean, if you will, as both these teams have settled in. And Saya Uhila is coming this direction. I don't know if that's just where he is on the field.
It's like a penalty down here.
And they're gonna bring it back over here. It looked like it was going to be a line out. Yep, they're gonna give it to Toronto. So Uhila's still in the game. So yes, a penalty for that. No yellow card given, but a penalty given to Toronto on that side. Uhila, no arms on the tackle. You have to wrap up. Not to mention it was late.
Yeah,
so line out coming.
That's exactly not what you want to give them as the Warriors. We spoke about discipline as one of the keys to the game for the Warriors. You have all the momentum. Everything's on your side. You give up a dumb penalty like that. This is a great attacking opportunity here for the Arrows. Now at 15 players, Malcolm's back up on his feet. That's good to see. A few minutes left in this half. This is a crucial set piece.
Waning moments and minutes of half number 1. Successful line out from Stephen Ing. Ball spins around. Still going. Stephen Ing with the ball. Josh Reeves on the tackle. Dutois right in front of the post. About 10 meters out. Milazzo pushes his teammate over. Toronto trying to take the lead before the half. 5-meter line. Ferguson. Toronto knocking on the door here. Colby Francis wants it. Francis digs in and is in! The 8-man, Colby Francis, with the try, and Toronto takes the lead after giving up 19 straight to the Warriors to tie it up.
Yeah, that try is very similar to Jackson Kaka's there from the Utah Warriors. Just a great big pick and go, great body position, getting down, reaching out, scoring 5 points at a crucial moment to take back some of that momentum, stop their own bleeding, and then take back the lead.
And with that, the 4th try of the game, at least 1 bonus point will go to Toronto for scoring 4 or more tries.
think we'll see plenty more. We're going out. What do we got right now? 43 points between the two. Not even 40 minutes played so far.
Yeah,
This is a treat.
both teams are going to get the bonus point today, no doubt. No doubt.
Now you put the curse on him, Jerem.
Have I? Oh,
We'll
man.
see.
It's like talking about a no-hitter. And here's Sam Malcolm's first kick after being attended to on the field a few moments ago. Let's see if he can tack on 2 more. About a minute before the end of the half here in Harriman, Utah. Utah Warriors with 8 points this season have really struggled. Had a nice set of 19 points in a row. Toronto's won 3 of their 7. And this kick is a beaut. Make it 7. And it's 26-19 Toronto. Let's see what Utah can do as they kick off Toronto here in the final minute. Make it 30 seconds plus. Josh Reeves will take it for the Warriors. Good crowd on hand today, enjoying this one. Great game. Thanks for tuning in. Watch this one. Peter Milazzo with the take. See if the Arrows be overly aggressive here as they've got the lead going into halftime. As we have hit the 40-minute mark of the first half. That one kicked into touch, so the Arrows content to go into half. And there's the whistle. Halftime, 26-19. The Utah Warriors, after being down 19, added 19. 7 a moment ago from the Arrows and Colby Francis. And what a half we had. Toronto up 7 at the break. It was a battle between these two. And Toronto, who averages 24 a game, already up to 26. 4 tries in that first half. And the Utah Warriors averaging 20, already up to 19. So it is a high-scoring affair today. And the Toronto Arrows up 26-19. We'll step aside and be back after the break. You don't want to miss the second half. The first half was awesome.
Hey there, rugby fans. Did you ever get bullied for being one of the only lovers of the sport? Well, now everyone will want to jump on the bandwagon. Go to warriorsrugby.vote to enter any of the polls and contests. Leave your email, first and last name, and boom! You are entered for a chance to win 2 round-trip tickets to Japan for this year's Rugby World Cup. Hurry!
Tooele. beginnings to unlimited tomorrows. It's a bold new day in Tooele. So much, so close. For more information, contact us at tooelevalley.org.
It is halftime at Zions Bank Stadium in Harriman, Utah. The Utah Warriors, Toronto Arrows. What a half in the first half, 26-19. Toronto up on Utah. Now here in the booth with the commissioner of Major League Rugby, Dean Howes. And Dean, what a first half we saw. That was incredible.
Yeah, 19 points by Toronto, 19 points coming back by Utah. Quick try at the end by Toronto to make it a little difference at the halftime, but a great game.
Let's talk about the state of Major League Rugby. Second season, we're seeing one of the two expansion teams in Toronto. How are things going in year two?
You know what, it's going great. You know, we had 7 teams last year. It's a single entity, so we had 9 members, 7 teams played. This year we have 13 members, 9 of them are playing, and you know what, they're doing really a great job. New York's doing a good job. Toronto's doing a good job.
How has the league continued to grow here in U2 after the inaugural season, and now 2 more teams back east?
Well, you know what, really, you can define growth in a lot of ways. I define it first on the pitch, right? The play, the technical play. You see it here. It's faster. It's better. You know, we're improving each and every game, each and every year. I believe we'll improve again next year. Next year we'll have 12 teams playing, so we'll improve in our scale on that. We'll cover the national market a little bit better. So we're thrilled about that. The rest of the growth is really just that maturation that a league has to take. Bigger crowds, better TV deals, just that improvement that just keeps coming and keeps coming. And we're very pleased with the pace of everything that we're doing right now.
It's been wild to watch Toronto. They've had to play, 8 straight road games. This is their 8th. They've done pretty well given the difficulty of the slate there.
You know what, listen, there's such parity in the league that, I'm not sure home field advantage gives you too much at this point. And they'll get the advantage of playing a lot of home games down the stretch, down at the, through the end. So yeah, we're going to start the season a little bit later next year. That will give us a little bit better weather, especially for the northern teams. Utah's had some pretty bad luck here. It just seems like it's a beautiful day and then it snows on the day that is game day. So we're thrilled to see the sun today, but we'll make some changes next year.
Luckily, today is good. Stick with us. We'll chat with you after the break. Coming up more with Dean Howes, the commissioner of the league, including some great news coming up. At halftime, Toronto 26, Utah 19. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey there, rugby fans. Did you ever get bullied for being one of the only lovers of the sport? Well, now everyone will want to jump on the bandwagon. Go to warriorsrugby.vote to enter any of the polls and contests. Leave your email, first and last name, and boom! You are entered for a chance to win 2 round-trip tickets to Japan for this year's Rugby World Cup. Hurry!
A lot can happen when your sidekick is a dog.
Hey, I got this.
That's why you use Zelle in the Mountain America app. It makes sending and receiving money fast and easy. So Kicker and I can keep the adventure going.
Zelle is now in the Mountain America mobile app. Quickly send and receive money from almost anyone with a bank account in the U.S.
Kicker, my sleeping bag.
I've got this.
All with the convenience and security of the Mountain America app.
Hi, I'm Ned Siegfried. Siegfried & Jensen's been handling injury cases in Utah for over 30 years. In addition to our main office in Salt Lake, we have recently opened offices for your convenience in Ogden, Provo, and St. George. Even though most business these days is done online, we really enjoy meeting our clients in person whenever possible. If you've had the misfortune of being injured, call us. We can probably tell you right on the phone whether or not you have a case.
Hey there, rugby fans. Did you ever get bullied for being one of the only lovers of a sport? Well, now everyone will want to jump on the bandwagon. Go to warriorsrugby.vote to enter any of the polls and contests. Leave your email, first and last name, and boom! You are entered for a chance to win 2 round-trip tickets to Japan for this year's Rugby World Cup. Hurry!
Welcome back to halftime. Toronto 26, Utah 19 in Major League Rugby. Continuing our conversation with the commissioner of the league, Dean House. 2019's been amazing. This is year 2 of the league. Let's look ahead to year 3, 2020. What's in store?
Well, 2020, out of our 13 members, 12 of them will be playing, everyone but Dallas. So we'll add the DC market, the Atlanta market, and the Boston market will all be playing. And matter of fact, we'll release our schedule out this week. So the brand new schedule for 2020 will be out. So everybody that wants to buy season tickets will know what the schedule is.
No rugby league had gone past a year, and now you're going into year 3. Congratulations on the success, and 2020 is going to be great. 2019 is not even over, and I'm looking forward to next year, Dean.
Well, and that's the way it should be. And the truth is a real league should be looking at 21 and 22 and 23 and 24, right? I mean, that it has to be sustainable, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well, fantastic. We appreciate the time, Dean, and enjoy the second half.
Thank you. I will.
Okay, second half coming up. Highlights, stats, and the resume of the second half. 26-19, Toronto up on Utah. If it's anything like the first, it's going to be awesome. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Ned Siegfried. Siegfried & Jensen's been handling injury cases in Utah for over 30 years. In addition to our main office in Salt Lake, we have recently opened offices for your convenience in Ogden, Provo, and St. George. Even though most business these days is done online, we really enjoy meeting our clients in person whenever possible. If you've had the misfortune of being injured, call us. We can probably tell you right on the phone whether or not you have a case.
Tooele. Humble beginnings to unlimited tomorrows. It's a bold new day in Tooele. So much, so close. For more information, Contact us at tooellavalley.org.
What a half between Utah and Toronto as the players come back out onto the field. The kids are flossing. You know it's a good time. 26-19 Toronto over Utah. Johnny, what were your first half observations?
Yeah, well, I don't know if halftime was long enough because I barely just caught my breath after such an explosive first half. So I don't know how the players are doing, but just an exciting attacking rugby from both teams. You know, defense probably being a little subpar. Maybe that's what the coaches spoke about at halftime. But just attack, both teams have been clinical, just executing their chances. And the Arrows have had one more chance, and it shows on the scoreboard.
Up and down we went, 19 straight from Toronto, 19 straight from Utah, and then Toronto tacked on a Colby Francis try and conversion from Sam Malcolm to make it 26-19. The Arrows all the way from Toronto. This is actually their second time to Utah as a franchise. Last year beat Utah 24-20 with a late try in an exhibition match, and now they're a member of Major League Rugby. And in case you missed it, Dean Howes, the commissioner of the league, gave us a couple of big pieces of news. One, the season will start later next year. That's great considering the weather we've seen, perhaps avoiding that in Glendale and Utah and other places. So that's good. The other is that they already have the 2020 schedule ready to rock. They're going to release that this week. That'll be year 3 of the league. No league had made it past the first year. So now we're already looking into year 3, which is fantastic.
Yeah, well, if it's anything like the first half, if that's what every Major League Rugby game continues to be like, then I think we're going to make it, you know, indefinitely into the future, because this is just exciting rugby. The fans are loving it. I'm sure the viewers at home are also loving it. I'm loving it up here in the booth, so I can't wait for the second half to get started.
Okay, Toronto is out. Utah has just come out in the red out. Here today, 26-19 Toronto. You see Matt Jensen, the former USA Eagle. Lots of Eagles and former and current Canadian national team players. And the second half about to be underway. Don Patti getting one last drink before he enters the fray. Not actually out on the field, as Derek Summers, Lex Weiner, and Cage Green are our referees today, and 2 assistant referees. Already one final. Rooney, Rugby United New York, beat Austin 19-11. Glendale and NOLA, Seattle and San Diego tonight. 2 really good ones as well. We'll cap off round 10 of Major League Rugby. And we are underway in the second half. Colby Francis, who scored the try at the end of the half, with the first pick.
Here we go, boys.
Little cloud cover, a little cooler out there now. Mike Shepard. Played 2 games in ARC. Now the ball goes wide. Nice run from Dutois. Ferguson. Here's Stephen Ing. He has a try. 7 combined tries in the first half. Box kick from Ferguson. Goes high on this one. Don Patti bounces off of him. Tanata Lauti comes down with it. Lauti was tripped and scored a penalty try in the first half. Here's Lieber, the hooker for the Warriors. They've been decimated by some injuries to Logan Daniels and Alex Vorster. Reeves clears. In the field of play. Ball in hand now. Mieres, the Uruguayan. Look at this. The international, Andrew Ferguson. He's got options. Offloads to Shepard, and he loses it. Gannon Moore from South Dakota. The Eagle. Patti, former scrum half. Vandenberg nearly coughs it up. And Tim O'Malley is injured. Tim O'Malley, and that's a big one. The captain for the Utah Warriors behind the play right now is limping as Reeves clears. He'll be attended to. He wants to stay on there and play. He shakes off the trainer. You see him running by Patti. Might be a hamstring for him. And he kicks it right-footed, which he is right-footed, but that left plant hamstring, my goodness, he is in some pain. but he came back to kick that ball.
Yeah, definitely. He saw, the Toronto wanting to kick him behind. Don Party all by himself, who doesn't have the strongest clearing kick game. Stayed with it for his team, and that's exactly what you want to see from a captain. And, what a tough player. We've seen some tough players today.
Ferguson, Malcolm, Ika, now O'Malley. None of them have come out. And O'Malley's still in, by the way. Successful line out. Milazzo. Toronto, big run here. Mike Shepard. Shepard into space. He's got Colby Francis. Francis bowling over Patti. Toronto trying to go up 2 scores here. Morgan Mitchell kept it alive. Spilled over. Spencer Jones, the Kiwi with it. Morgan Mitchell kept that ball alive. Avoided the knock-on. Here's Ing with some help by Rumble. Ball's out, Morgan Mitchell. And there's a whistle, a forward pass. And calling offside. Toronto with the penalty.
Yeah, it looks like he had advantage there for offside, and the forward pass kind of negated that. Again, that's a definite 3 points, and they're going for a scrum. This Toronto team trusts their forward and their set pieces.
Very technical squad. Chris Silverthorne telling us we're not the biggest group. We've got some big guys, but we've got to be more technical, and our strength is our athleticism. We've been able to see that with the ball in hand in the run of play today. So the scrum coming from the team from Toronto with numbers on the left. Eric Summers will reset this scrum. Toronto won 3 scrums in the first half, Utah 2. 26-19 here in the second half. And there's an injured Warrior player. It looks like Sai Uhila. And the injuries are starting to mount up. And it's right near the scrum, and it's before it restarts, so they'll take a moment. Toronto in 6th place in the table, 17 points, all on the road. Minus 7-point differential. The only real game that they didn't win that was beyond 1 score and didn't get the bonus point was at Glendale, 22-0 in the snow. So they've done really well. Meanwhile, Utah, 1 win, 4 losses, and 1 draw. Minus 33-point differential. That's 3rd worst in the league. Only 2 bonus points. Only 8 points total. So a win today would really be a big momentum shift for Utah as they try and avoid being kind of knocked out of the competition right now way too early.
Yeah, they've got to get back in it. They got off to a slow start, had a draw and a loss that they should have won. They didn't close out the game. Now they're behind the 8 ball, and this is a big one today, and it's well within reach.
Utah has played the fewest amount of games of anybody in the league, 6 coming into today. NOLA on top of the table until Rugby United New York won. Now, for the moment, Rooney is your top team in the league.
Big scrum.
Ball taken, laid back. Rumble pushing forward. Rumble all the way near the try zone, and he's in. What a run from the aptly named Lucas Rumble. 31-19 Toronto.
Well, the crumbler, and again, that decision not to go for points pays off with more. It's a great run, just sloppy tackles, arm tackles, not putting any weight behind it. And he's big enough to get down in a good position over the line and dot this one down for 5, and surely the 2 will be added.
The 5th try for Toronto on the road in this one to get up to 31 points. And 5 different players have scored tries for the Arrows today.
Just getting a little nervous there that no one has scored points in a few minutes.
After the great first half, as Malcolm slots it, he's 4 for 5 today in conversions. Neither team has attempted a penalty either. It's been all tries.
Yeah, there've been a few penalties that have been well within range, and they've turned it down. And for the most part, those have been the right decisions.
So Utah thought 1 double-digit comeback wasn't enough. We'll attempt to do so again here. Down 14, and we're going to have a substitution. Looks like Marcello Wainwright going to come into the contest. For Colby Francis, who scored a try. So sub at the 8-man there. Oidelman. See his quickness. Tackled by Vainicolo. That's a fun matchup. Oidelman has not had the ball in hand too much today. Stephen Ing out of his 22. Toronto up 14. Clearing kick from Malcolm. There's Johnny Ika, the scrum half. Goes to Reeves. Reeves over to Patti. Patti spills it. Advantage Toronto. Kicked forward. Here's the chase to Natalauti. Has the ball. This is dangerous. Where's he going to go? He's in the try zone. And he's tackled down. So no real option to kick. It's going to come out for a 5-meter scrum here for Toronto.
Yeah, that was a perfectly weighted kick in behind there from Toronto. Fullback Don Putty taking it in, spilling it, unfortunately. And then the Arrows realizing they got no one back at home, so putting a little grubber kick in, perfectly weighted inside the 5-meter line. Lauti did well to go back and scoop it up. Then he got trapped inside his own end goal. So this will be a 5-meter scrum here for the Arrows, and in a great attacking position. And they back their forwards. This could be danger time for the Warriors.
And Tim O'Malley, the captain, who it looked like had an injury, shook off the trainer a couple of times. He has stayed in there. We knew rugby players were tough already, but there's some tough cookies out here. My goodness.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you could come out for a second like you can in some other sports and have a Gatorade, maybe get some heat rubbed on it. You can't in rugby. You got to stay in or you're off.
Look at this scrum, just bowling over the Warriors. Up 14 already, trying to make it more.
They got advantage too.
More. The captain. And penalty against Utah. Quick tap and go attempted. Derek Summers is going to bring it back. And Utah's in danger of having a similar deficit. And you'd think coming back twice from that deficit would be very tough. Down 14 here in Toronto, right on the doorstep again. Toronto has dominated the scrums, nearly rolled that one into the try zone a moment ago. And we've got Saya Uhila with another injury. And we'll see if Ada Elkington will come into the match. He looks like he is going to check in. And we'll see who he comes in for. And Toronto will bring in Jamie McKenzie as well, and Theo Sauter, I believe. This will be Sauter's debut in Major League Rugby. Starting fullback for Canada in the ARC. We'll see when they're let in here. Not quite into the contest. As Derek Summers looks over, so Ada Elkington will enter the match. Normally a starter, but as you mentioned 9 days ago, and a baby girl, congratulations to the Elkingtons. And he's going to come in for the injured Uhila. So Uhila's a lock, and Elkington's a flanker typically, so a little bit of a mix-up with the forwards here to make it work. Here we go with the scrum. Toronto up 14, trying to make this an even tougher deficit for the Utah Warriors, who tied it up after being down 19. Here in the 50th minute. Ball being kicked forward, Marcello Wainwright. Ball's finally out. Wainwright skipping his way along the edge, and is he in? He is! Off to the right side and in for Toronto. Another try, 38-19, doubling up Utah, and again a 19-point advantage.
Yeah, we're going to the scrum again and again. Is proving to pay dividends here. It spills out the side, but referee Summers did have advantage out. So you got a free play, and then that's just grit and determination to get over the try line and put us back to another 19-point run with a kick to come for the Arrows. So maybe we'll see the Warriors have a turn after this kick, but they've just taken over all the momentum on Toronto's side right now.
And it was Marcello Wainwright, the sub, instantly comes in, fresh legs, gets his second try of the season. A 22-year-old from Toronto. And Sam Malcolm. 4 for 5. And Andrew Ferguson comes out. So does Dan Moore. In comes Cole Keith. So some fresh legs for the Arrows. All the way from Toronto out here in Utah. Finally got some good weather. Malcolm's kick has the distance. And it's in. Was it off the post and in?
Yeah, a little bit of style points there, but that's a crucial two. And now they're out 40-19, 3 converted tries. This is an even bigger hole than the Warriors found themselves in the first half.
Watch this kick go off the left upright and in. 5 for 6 on conversions from Sam Malcolm, and the Utah Warriors have another big deficit to try and overcome. Can they turn it on again? Or will Toronto not allow it this time?
They're going to have to, Jerem.
Milazzo, nice lift. Ball going towards the touchline, finally taken. That one cleared by Jamie McKenzie, the new sub, by the way. Patti with the fake to the 10-meter line, churning up some territory. Johnny Ika, Lance Williams to O'Malley, who is not 100%. This one way wide to Lauti. Lauti with 12 meters on his own. Ika. Williams. Don Patti being attended to. His right calf as he stands up on the opposite side, trying to stretch it out. Perhaps cramping. Oh, big hit on the shoulder of Peter Milazzo on Franco Vandenberg. Reeves. Vinicolo spills it. Here's Mike Shepard. Shepard to the winger. Oideman all the way. No one will catch him. Avery Oideman, his 6th try, tying the most in Major League Rugby. 45-19. No one was going to catch him.
Yeah, no one's going to catch him, especially because he had that massive head start. Way to capitalize. Utah's just shooting themselves on the foot, especially on this one, as you see it come out. The pass right there. Viney College takes a peek to look at the defense, spills it forward, and then a beautiful ball. Oideman had a second go at it. Gannon-Moore wasn't able to chase him down. Dots down, a little bit of style points there on the flip. This will be another 7 here for the Arrows.
And a season-high 45 points for the Toronto Arrows against the Utah Warriors. 7 tries today, no penalties even needed in this one. What an offensive display by the Arrows.
In a statement from some of the players who had their starting spots, confirmed by the coaches as those Canadian internationals came back from ARC. The coaches said, hey, we're going to go with our squad that's been there all the way, and they have proved dominant today.
And that's without some of those guys. So what will Toronto be with some of them as they continue to try and climb into the top 4, 6th place when the day started? And Utah down big. Going to need something pretty crazy, even crazier than what we saw in the first half now. Down 28 points, 4 full scores. As Reeves bounces it, and the whole team has to hold up. They thought he was going. 55 minutes in, Toronto, 47 points. And a penalty against Toronto by Nicola wanting the ball. And Peter Milazzo not having it. Some obstruction against the Arrows. And Utah will have a great platform from which to attack now. But is there enough time to be able to come back down 28 now? We've seen flashes of brilliance by this Utah squad, but Toronto has seemed to find the right gear here in the second half. 28 unanswered now from Toronto, including the try before the half, by the way. Here's Jeremy Lieber, Utah with a sense of urgency. Stolen away by the Arrows. Milazzo, the 22-year-old, tied for first coming into the match with 4 lineout steals. Make it 5 now. Into touch. And John Cullen went after that one hard. He's still in the try zone. So a fresh Toronto side. We'll see how many more subs potentially come in for Utah right now. Toronto seems to be pretty fresh at a few positions where they've subbed out the scrum half and I believe the fly half as well. Lieber to Williams. This one not stolen. This one given to Elkington and now to Angus McClellan. And this is Toronto's on the ground. This one's going to be held up. Back to Ika. O'Malley. Reeves. Wide to Patti over his head. Lauti finally picks it up. Just past midfield. And that did not go as planned. It's Vainicolo. Vainicolo looking for options. Spins around. Keeps it. Vainicolo scored a try in the first half, his first of the season. O'Malley. Vandenberg. Avoids one. Here's Gannon Moore. Moore can be dangerous. Flips it back to Cullen. John Cullen! Move, get out the way. Spills it backwards. Lieber, Jensen. This one high and over the head again. Lauti. Quick first step around the edge. Tonata Lauti! Tonata Lauti! All by himself! Into the try zone! His first of the season! It took 6 matches for him to get in, but what a try it was!
Yeah, what a move. I mean, as we go back and watch the replay of this one, Tonata Lauti is the type of guy that'll make you miss a tackle inside a phone booth. He is so shifty and so speedy. He gets around the corner. The Warriors were playing with a penalty advantage, so they had some freedom. There he goes, gasses it, dots it down. 5 points for the Warriors to stop the bleeding. They're still in a big hole, but that is definitely a help that they need to get back into this. Great try.
And that gives Utah at least 1 point in this. The 4-try bonus on that score. So that's big because Utah's only had 2 bonus points all year. And now still down big, trying to make this a 3 full score game. It's Tim O'Malley, 1 for 2 on conversions today. There was 1 penalty try, so automatic conversion. As O'Malley lines up. And the strike is true. What a try from Tonata Lauti, one of the most dangerous men in open field in Major League Rugby.
Yeah, he is, and he's been contained pretty well so far this season, but he's had a few great runs today. That one led to the tripping and the yellow card for Ferguson and the subsequent penalty try. So he's credited for scoring 2 of these tries, essentially, but he won't get that stat from that penalty try. But a great elusive run from Lauti. And the Warriors need it. They need more players. They need all their players to step up, really, if they're going to get back into this, because the Arrows have full control.
73 combined points, 11 tries in this game combined. Utah still down 21. Vandenberg, Williams. Stood up by Cole Keith. One of those subs for the Arrows. Ika, Lieber, McClellan. Joshua Reeves, O'Malley with a fake and then picked. And this one's going the distance. Gaston Mieres will dot it down. The Uruguayan, what a steal. And the pick 5 to make it 52-26.
Yeah, that's a Sports Center top 10 moment right there. Reeves out to O'Malley. O'Malley, that's a good ball 99% of the time, but what a grab. One hand, and he takes it home. And good night, Nurse, as he dots down.
The 8th try for the Arrows today. And Mieres, by the way, what a player he is. 66 caps for Uruguay. Age 29. He's played in England, Italy, in his home country. And what a play right there. And what a performance from Toronto. And that was a big play because Utah was building some momentum, down 3 scores, maybe trying to make it 2 right there. Instead, they doubled up Utah again, 52-26.
Yeah, no signs of slowing down either, Jerem. This is just a clinical performance from the Arrows. Minus that 20 or so minutes the Warriors controlled, they've just controlled the whole game.
And the kick is good. 6 of 7. Water break. We need a break just to get some air. 54-26 Toronto with their 8th try of the match. Utah needs more than water at this break. We'll step aside for a couple of minutes. Don't miss the final 20 coming up after the break. Holy mackerel. You like high-scoring offense in any sport, let alone rugby, you're going to love this one, man. Toronto up 54-26 on the Utah Warriors. 19 unanswered from Toronto to start the game, 19 unanswered from Utah. And then 28 unanswered from Toronto. Utah scores 7, Toronto scores another 7. And here we sit with 80 points in this game and 12 combined tries. Incredible. But Utah in some real trouble here. Toronto, an incredible display here on the road. Great grab from Rumble as the sun comes back out. Here in Harriman, Utah, Zions Bank Stadium. Jerem Jordan, Johnny Linehan, and our crew. That one ricocheted, and Lauti overran it. Otherwise, he's gone. And then kicked into touch. And come back for a penalty, according to referee Eric Summers, on the knock-on by Utah, I believe, on that ricochet. This has been a wild one, Johnny. And this is our first look at Toronto this season as an expansion team in Major League Rugby. They're in 6th place right now, but this is a team that could climb into the top 4 and make the playoffs, no doubt.
Oh, definitely. And, you know, we spoke with the coaches before this and last night preparing for this game. And they've only had, 10 days consistent practice with a full team because of international Canadian duties for a lot of their players. And so they're just going to be a force to be reckoned with and just a dangerous team once they can have that consistency in Major League Rugby because they already are one of the most impressive teams that I've seen this season.
And this 54 points is the most by any team in Major League Rugby this year. The previous high was 49 by Nola Gold on March 16th. So what a display, and wow, look at that scrum. Pushed backward, but Utah somehow kept it. Reeves tackled in Utah, trying to get something going here. Lance Williams, it might just be too late, though. Nice pick from Lauti. Even better tackle by Oideman. Williams getting past Rumble. Big hits in the ruck right now. Not rolling away against Toronto. Free kick, and I think we're going to go an entire match without seeing a single penalty attempted. At this point, it ain't happening.
Yeah, you might be right. The only way it's going to happen is if the Arrows have one because the Warriors need more than 3 points.
And I don't think they're going to go for 3 at any point. They're doing just fine without it. Warriors will host Seattle next Friday. We'll be back for that one. Excited about the Seawolves coming to town. Meanwhile, Toronto, how excited are they? Next Saturday, they're going to host what's called a home game for the first time all season. 8 on the road, finally going to get a home game. First of 8 in a row, and it's Nola Gold. It's one of the top teams in the league. They may be the top team going in. At the moment, Rooney is the top team. Williams stops himself before going into touch. Gaining more. Not a lot of space to work with. Gets about 6 or 7 meters on his own here. Cullen, not a lot of people wide. Ika Trying to create some space for Tanata Lauti, who runs into touch. And a bit of frustration there. Another sub, Tom Van Horn will come in. I assume for Stephen Ing at hooker. Oh, he's coming in for somebody else, but he is into the contest. About 16 and a half minutes to go. So Toronto, you would think if they can just be decent at home, will put themselves in a tremendous position, having played 8 straight road games to start the 2019 season. One of the 2 expansion teams with Rugby United New York, who's been really good. That one's knocked on. Utah, a bit of advantage here. And the penalty whistle comes. Utah with an opportunity inside their 22. But assuming that this result holds, Johnny, Utah's in some real trouble to try and make the playoffs like they did last year. They're going to have 9 points after a bonus point. And they're going to be in second to last place. And it's going to be hard for them to make the playoffs. Meanwhile, Toronto, as we mentioned, is going to get up to 23 points today. They're going to pass San Diego before the game for 5th place and be just a couple of points behind Glendale right there with 8 home games to go. Scrum pushback. Joseph Nichols in for Johnny Ika now, by the way. There's the missile. Jeremy Misailanalu, who won a championship with Seattle last year. There's Jensen. Jensen stood up at the 22-meter line. Nice tackle by Tom Van Horn. Nichols from Zimbabwe. Dad played in a couple of World Cups. Ika. So Nichols and Ika in there. The former Cougar Joseph Nichols in for the Warriors. And there's 2 scrum halves for Utah right now. Nichols. Inside ball to Ika. Ika perhaps playing fly half. Dunpati out, so Ika playing the fullback position. Reeves, Moore. There's a lot of white jerseys every time the Warriors try and go to the weak side. Jensen, straight forward. Nichols. Ika to Williams. Oideman. Williams. Oh. Down the sideline and dotted down. Did he go out or not is the question. He did not. It's a try for Nolan Tuamoha Heloa. What a run.
Yeah, what a run. I mean, the Warriors, first time they actually have some go-forward ball. They've been flat-footed for the better part of these last 5 minutes trying to make something happen, but Lance Williams makes a man trip out the back door. And then the finish. Oh, yeah, great camera work from our crew there to catch that one, but that's 5 points all day. Maybe a little bit too late for the Warriors, but that's some excitement that they need. Get the crowd back in this, get the momentum. And a great try nonetheless. So now we're going to see Reeves with his first conversion attempt of the afternoon.
Little sunny bill there. Lance Williams, nicely done. And the Kiwi who plays for the Brazilian national team, Joshua Reeves, will attempt a conversion here. He was money in the ARCs for Brazil. In fact, in one match against Canada, a lot of these Toronto Arrows was 6 of 8 from penalties, and those were all the points that Canada needed to beat Brazil 18-10. The lefty attempts it, and it's going to be wide right, no good. Had the distance, but not between the posts, so it's no good, and the score stays 54-31 in the 68th minute. Let's see if we have any more substitutions for either team down the stretch here. Multiple notable injuries in this one. Vandenberg and O'Malley out. Uhila out. 6 or 7 Utah Warriors on the bench as continues to get a little warmer here. And look at John Cullen almost go horizontal on that one, but stayed upright when all is said and done. As he catches that line out, and Utah could make it interesting. They get another one here. Gannon Moore. Moore Gannon Moore, the Eagle.
Chip and chase.
Chip and chase, and look at him go. Doesn't take a good bounce as Malcolm gobbles it up and prevents a try. But look at all that territory churned up by Gannon Moore from South Dakota, the Eagle, who was with the team for the American Rugby Championships. Started at winger in 2 matches. Malcolm will clear. And a lot of the damage done by Gannon Moore by himself. We haven't seen a ton of him this season. He scored 3 tries in 3 games coming into the match, and he can be dangerous.
Yeah, he's an elite player, and that's why we haven't seen so much of him, because he's been away with the USA Eagle team for the majority part of this season with the Warriors. So he's a great impact player the Warriors are glad to have back, and we see that just why. Unfortunately, he can't get the bounce of the ball, and the Arrows able to hang on there on defense.
He has no support with him. That's why he makes that particular play, where he can kick it forward and just go get it. Didn't get the bounce. Utah with ball in hand inside the 22. Maul still going. Utah scored on a maul from this distance against San Diego earlier in the season, and now into touch. Well done by Toronto. Push the Warriors out. Clock ticking, 10 minutes to go. Toronto up 23 in this extremely high-scoring affair. We've seen a season high, not only for Toronto, but for any team in Major League Rugby, with 54 points from Toronto today. Can the Warriors make it interesting down the stretch here, despite having given up 8 tries? And neither team even attempting a penalty. Kicked into touch. Season high today for the Warriors as well, by the way. 31 points, but the season allowed high of 54 won't do it. The previous high was 47 against Rooney, Rugby United New York. Final score around Major League Rugby. Rooney beat Austin 19-11. 2 other games tonight. Glendale and NOLA, and Seattle and San Diego. So a good pair there. Cullen. Here's Nichols, Reeves, inside to Ada Elkington, who's such a hard runner. I would say he's well rested because he hasn't played, but he just had a baby 9 days ago, so probably not. Ika quickly down the field. And near that touchline, still alive or not? No. The assistant referee says did go into touch. So that nice run nullified by going out of bounds. And in comes Blake Burdett at hooker, who played in the 2007 World Cup, former Utah Ute and Utah Ute coach. And he'll come in for Jeremy Lieber, who gave 72 quality minutes. So a lot of fresh legs out there. It was 26-19 at half. And we thought, man, we're going to, if the first half is anything like the second half. Well, Toronto got the memo. Utah did not as much. Scored a couple of tries, but couldn't quite keep up with Toronto's pace here. And here's Jack McRogers coming in for Stephen Ing, a hooker change. McRogers is the Canadian U20 hooker, and perhaps the future on the senior men's national team as well. And this is his Major League debut. (54-31), 72nd minute. Line out won by the Warriors. There's Alex Tucci. Oh, he is driven back and the ball comes out. What a tackle. Lauti in the middle of the field. Rare to see him there. Normally on the edge. Lets it go, picks it back up. Spins over. Arthur Burgo, the Brazilian, teammate of Josh Reeves on the national team there with the carry. Gannon Moore. Couple of fens. All goes backwards. Johnny Ika now playing fullback at number 9. Blake Burdett wants a piece. Reeves, nice inside run to the missile. And a forward ball, and Toronto survives that sequence of phases.
Yeah, Toronto's head coach there calling out great defense, and it is. It's been a great performance here from the Arrows all afternoon, and even though 10 minutes left, looks like this one's over for the sake of, we're kind of waiting for the final score, but for all intents and purposes, it looks like this might be too big of a gap for the Warriors to catch up on. These Arrows are still playing their hearts out. They have pride in themselves. They don't want to let easy ones through.
Lance Williams, the one being checked. Looks like perhaps his right knee or quad. So what do you take from what we've seen today as the season continues here in round 10?
Yeah, so starting with the Arrows, obviously you take a full bag of confidence. This is their going home. They're going to play all the next 8 straight home games after this. They're in a great position to make a run, not just for the playoffs, but to get a good seed in the playoffs. And got all that momentum with their Canadian internationals back. So I'm sitting really pretty if I'm a Toronto Arrows player, coach, or fan. From the Warriors, yeah, it's easy to bring up the negatives about what happened today and what's happened so far this season, but there are also a lot of positives. Today we've seen a lot of different rugby, and kind of the Utah Warriors getting back to their typical rugby, their explosive freeness, playing the game. Amongst the backs, we've seen some excitement there. The forwards have been solid for the most part of the season. So it's not all negative. But the bad thing is the Warriors haven't been able to close out games, so they're behind the race right now for playoff contention.
You see Lance Williams, flanker for Utah, being helped off. Hopefully he's okay. Being assisted by Logan Daniels and Jared Whippy, a couple of his teammates. Another look at what happened with Williams.
That's going to be the biggest worry with the Warriors going forward is they've got a few players banged up today, and they're only going to take away 1 point. So hopefully they're all well. They can ice it up and get back into this for a shorter week. Early turnaround for Seattle's game on Friday night.
And that's a big one. At this point, the Warriors are going to need wins and bonus points in most of their games just to have a shot at the playoffs. And that's if the other teams didn't play just to catch up, let alone the increase in points there. So Utah Warriors made the playoffs last year, lost in the semifinals, but one of those first 4 in the championships. Toronto in 6th place right now in their inaugural year in Major League Rugby. And as we discussed with Dean Howes at halftime, the commissioner of Major League Rugby here in the booth, exciting stuff with the additions of teams in Boston and DC and Atlanta and Dallas next year. And then who knows beyond that as expansion continues. Wainwright grabbed it. This one kicked. Oideman looking at it. And it goes into touch, so it's going to come back because they're outside the 22 on that kick, and it was kicked out of bounds or into touch. So it'll be a scrum for the Utah Warriors. And we haven't seen a score in 8 minutes, and it just feels weird. This whole game has been, it's been wild. It started in the 6th minute, and then here's the minutes between scores. These are all tries. 3, 6, 4, 5, 4, 10, 7, 5, 3, 5, 2, 6. So we have seen a try scored in about every 5 minutes, feels like, right?
Yeah, definitely. And we've been treated. They just haven't been basic tries. Some of them have been outstanding tries from both teams.
And Toronto steals that Blake Burdett lineout. And if it was Milazzo, that's what he does. It was 2 lineout steals. He's now in sole possession by 2 in lineout steals in the whole league. Rumble. Doing what his name entails. He was born to do this. Malcolm. There's McRogers. Not rolling away on the Warriors. That was Arthur Burgo, the Brazilian.
Hey, look what's coming up, Jerem. I called it.
Oh, there is a penalty try. Wow. Or excuse me, a penalty attempt We had a penalty try earlier, so I thought we'd go the distance without even seeing a penalty attempted, which is pretty crazy, but here it comes, just because.
Yeah, just trying to, the wind is fully sucked out of the sails from the Warriors, and I'm sure the Arrows will have no worries about the seconds just ticking off the clock because we're about 4 minutes left to play.
And perhaps it's an opportunity just to kill some clock. It takes a lot of energy to score 8 tries, does it not?
Yeah, and this is a big kick, not in terms of the game, but just this to stretch his leg. He's got a little bit of a breeze behind him, nothing too crazy. But this is probably about 45 meters on the angle.
6 of 7 in conversions today. Coming in, Malcolm, 80% accurate. 4th in points with 69 in the league. And the kick is up, and it is good. 57 points now, and a Major League Rugby high and a season high for the Toronto Arrows. Sam Malcolm from distance. $57 points. Here's the restart from Reeves, right on the edge. Nice kick. And taken by the Warriors. Burdett. Stolen by the Arrows, looking for options.
Oh, wow.
Sprinting all the way, Kainoa Lloyd. The speed. 9 tries now for the Warriors. Excuse me, the Arrows. 62 points. Oh, man. Kainoa Lloyd, if he doesn't run track, he probably should. The 24-year-old who scored 3 tries against Chile on February 22nd for Canada. Down the stretch he comes.
Yeah, well, they're taking over, just capitalizing on every little mistake the Warriors make, whether that's on attack or defense. And another dropped pass, just picked up and taken all the way back, 50, 60 meters. Some beautiful hands and a great finish there. Beautiful rugby and a great display from the Toronto Arrows today.
I'm not sure what Toronto thought they might do on this road trip, but I bet it wasn't this. Because this has been an incredible display of offense. And a shout out to those watching in the Irish pub there in Toronto. I know they're having a watch party. Game TV in Canada. This is a heck of a team we're seeing. Conversion's good. 7 for 8 on conversions for Malcolm, plus the penalty. So 17 points today. Climbing the charts in that. And nobody has scored more points than what Toronto has done today. 95 combined points, too. Pretty weird to score 31 and get blown out.
Yep.
That's what the Warriors have today. 1 minute left in this one. And it's been all but a formality for a little bit here in the second half. We'll see if we'll have another score in the waning moments. Johnny Ika, playing fullback, was playing scrum half. Ika will take it himself. Gets past the midway line. Nice run. Here's Burgo. Nichols. Reeves inside to Ika. Spills it. Knocked on. Advantage Toronto. With 30 seconds to go. Kicked forward to Natalauti. Oh, I would have loved to see that ball in play with Kainoa Lloyd and Tunata Lauti racing after it.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
You could have seen a sonic boom.
Another great little, beautifully kick put in behind there from the Arrows, just doing everything right. You know, this is almost as clean a performance as you'll see, especially giving up 31 points. Apart from that, it's just been an outstanding display from the Arrows.
It's going to be a frustrating loss for the Utah Warriors, who at halftime looked like they were in business, down 7, 26-19. Line out for Burdett, John Cullen with it. And Utah will prepare for Seattle next week. And Toronto has NOLA finally on home turf. And we'll see what kind of home field advantage Toronto has in Canada because of all these teams having to go all the way up there, right? Toronto has yet to, they've only played 1 match in their same time zone, by the way, which is pretty incredible.
It Might not be done here yet.
Oh,
my
big hit.
gosh.
As Lloyd is knocked over. I don't think, yeah, advantage on the penalty there. No arms on the tackle. Milazzo. One wide. Oidelman around the edge, and he's in. Another try.
No, I think he's out.
Oh, he was out. It's coming back, though, for the penalty earlier. Went crashing into that flag that no one has bothered to put back up as he goes into touch, but it will come back into extra time here. We'll see if the Arrows try and tack one on, or if they'll just kick it into touch, or if they'll go for 3. They can do whatever they want. They've basically done whatever they wanted today, up 33 points. And we'll see what the decision is. And that's kicked into touch, and that'll do it. There's the whistle, and Toronto wins 64-31. The most points scored by any team in Major League Rugby this season. 9 tries, and they get 5 points visiting Utah. That'll do it for us. What a performance by these two teams. Toronto puts it on Utah in the second half, winning 64-31. For Johnny Linehan, I'm Jerem Jordan. And for our crew, saying good night from Harriman, Utah. Final score, Toronto 64, Utah 31.